the old state.
Come on, my brother.
Rampage and tyranny. Some of the first tyrannies right here in Jamestown, right in Williamsburg. But look what they're doing in Petersburg. There's an officer, Vance Richards, who we see as evidence that there was an unlawful beating of a young Devin Thomas. And that's one of the reasons why we're here today. But that's not the only reason that we came here today. We came for justice and truth. We came to bring jobs and education. We came to bring you together, to put together the old, dead, dry bones of Ezekiel. And Ezekiel prophesied. And he prophesied to the old, dead, dry bones in the valley of the old, dead, dry bones. And Ezekiel got nothing. But he continued to prophesy until he saw one of the dead dry bones. They moved towards each other. Is that right?
Come on now.
They moved towards each other. He prophesied to the dead dry bones until he saw the dead dry bones move in unity together.
Come on.
He prophesied to the dead dry bones until the dead dry bones was able to speak to each other.
God up.
He brought the dead dry bones
Come on.
in the valley of the dead dry bones.
That's
He
right.
brought them together. Oh, my. Until he raised an exceedingly great army. I came here as one today, but we have multiplied into many. This is what E pluribus unum means to you. That you come as one, but we represent many.
That's
we want
right.
to bring an end to police
That's
brutality. Is that right in this hour? We
That's
want to bring
right.
an end to tyranny.
That's
an
right.
end to abuse of power. Abuse of power in this hour. We want to bring an end to unethical conduct. If again, an officer in this region is guilty of unethical conduct, if an officer in this region is guilty of abuse of power, if he's guilty of excessive force, we want to expose them. We want to expose those hypocritical
That's
officers.
right. Talk about
We want to expose the criminal officer in
Talk
this hour.
about it.
We want to expose him. And we want to bring him to justice
Talk about
for the people. We're going to have a mock trial right here today.
Come on
We're
now.
going to have a mock trial in Petersburg, Virginia.
Come on.
We want to know, how do you rule? You are the people. We the people. We want to know how you rule on what has been put before you in this hour. On the act of excessive force.
Come on now.
By Officer Vance Richards. We have to find him guilty or not guilty. How do we find Vance Richards on the excessive force and unnecessary force on the person of Devin
Come on
Thomas?
now.
How do we find him?
Come on. And then
I can't hear you. How do we find him?
guilty as charged.
How do we find him?
Guilty as
How
charged.
do we find him?
Guilty as
I can't
charged.
hear you. How do we find him
Guilty
on
as
excessive force? How do we find him on corruption within the ranks?
Come on.
How do we
Guilty
find
as
him?
charged.
Guilty as charged. Is that right? How do we
Guilty.
find Vance Richards? How do we find him in
Come
this
on.
hour on abuse of power?
Come on.
Let me hear from the people. How do you find him on the charge
Guilty.
of abuse of power?
Guilty as
What did I hear
charged. Guilty as
Say it again.
charged.
Guilty. How do we find him on abuse of power on this side? Guilty. Let's all say together, on the charge of abuse of power, we find him guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged.
On abuse of power. On the charge again of unethical conduct, meaning he's not working within the rules, within the procedures.
Let me take the picture of the queen too. Oh Lord, God is good. That's right. Right on.
How do we find
God
this
is
road
good.
officer
All
on
day, every day.
unethical conduct?
That's right. God is good. It might be
Even
cracked,
when
but
you're
it's
rich.
wonderful.
That's right.
Unethical
He
conduct.
handles it
How do
all.
we find him? Again, how do we
Guilty.
find him?
Guilty.
Again, over here. Let's all say it together. Guilty as charged.
In the
We
name
have
of
found him
Jesus.
guilty on unethical conduct in the mock trial for Vance Richards.
Okay.
Again, on that other charge that we had, it is called malfeasance. Malfeasance
Come
is
on.
a charge that is brought about when a paid or an elected official, when a paid or an elected official
Come on.
has been found guilty of
Come on.
abandonment. He has abandoned what they call the volition or the will of the people. When he has abandoned
Come on.
the will or the volition of the people. On the charge of unethical conduct, how do we Officer Vance Richards.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty, is that right? How did you find him?
Guilty as charged.
How did we find him? Come on, let's come together.
Guilty.
Here. How did we find him?
Guilty.
Let's all say together, Vance Richards, on what? Unethical conduct. How do we find him? Guilty. We have found him guilty in 3 out of the 4 charges. So what did we say to him? That the People's Court has been held here today. We want to put it on record with the cop blockers, with the easy eye,
Come on.
and the dead eyes, and
Come on.
all of those people that are looking to see to hit the target top dead center without missing the mark, that we have found him guilty of unethical conduct, guilty of abuse of power, and guilty of unnecessary use of force.
That's right.
And what? Excessive force. Is that right? This is the last charge.
That's right.
On the last charge that we have today against this officer of the Petersburg Police Department, Vance Richards, we bring the charge of guilty for excessive force. We bring that from the office of the Justice Minister because we had deliberated earlier. But I want to know in the People's Court, in the People's Court, that's what we have here today, the People's Court. How do you find Officer Vance Richards on the charge of excessive force? Guilty. Again, how do you find him? Guilty. So we have found him 4 out of 4 charges guilty in the court and the People's Court of we the people. Before we leave today, we want you to hear from a brother who has worked hard in the Petersburg community. He has been even charged himself.
Come on.
He's been working as a man from the eagle eye, the sharp as an eagle.
Come on.
But we have Brother Emmanuel here with us today, and he's going to share a few words with you to show you a little bit about how you have to conduct yourself if you have been approached by a police officer. Give it up for our brother Emmanuel Artist. Emmanuel, come on, give me a round of applause.
That's right.
Emmanuel Artist. Power to the people. Power to the people.
Thank you. Power to the people.
Thank you. Power to the people.
7 Eagle Eye. Basically, my job is I go around and I spy on the corrupt police.
Come on.
And throughout my research through Petersburg, we have come to find.
Get it close to your mouth and speak loud.
All right. Throughout my research in Petersburg, we have come to find that a few of the officers in Petersburg PD has basically been stepping over the line, and they are committing corruption, and they are basically mistreating the people, and they are coming into these homes here that are government funded.
Come on.
And they're kicking people out, kicking sons and fathers out of their houses with their baby mamas, which is against the law. They cannot do that. This place should not be, this is a government property. They cannot kick a family away from a family. The other thing they're doing, they're in here stealing drugs. They're doing a lot of different things they're not supposed to be doing. The bomb squad officers, which is Officer Sharp. Okay, we have Officer Sharp, Officer Patterson, Officer Diller, and there's a lot of other officers. We can call names all day long, but these officers is out of control. And I can tell you, what these officers is doing is against the law, and it can be stopped. But the only way it can be stopped, you people have to fill this street up. You have to get your friends out here, because the government will step in once they see the people have a problem. If they feel like you don't have a problem, if you don't have a problem, then there's nobody out here. Everybody in Petersburg should be on the street because you have a problem in Petersburg.
That's right.
And the only way you can fix that problem, you have to come out here, stop playing video games.
Come on.
You have to get off your football games. You have to get out here in the street and fix your problem, because if you don't, your kid's going to wind up dead and shot.
That's right.
So, I mean, you got people getting killed in jail.
Right.
But I can tell you, I can give you a testimony. This is what everyone wants to hear. Everyone wants to know, what is the end result when you go after a corrupt police. I can tell you what the end result is because I see it every day, and this is my job and I do it. I'm not afraid of the cops.
That's right.
I'm not afraid of anybody.
That's right.
I stand up to anybody that's corrupt.
That's
if they want to come find me and shoot me, they can go ahead and try and see how far they get.
That's
and when
right.
I'm dead, there's more people that's going to be behind me that's going to back what I'm doing up. There's more good guys than bad guys. Now here's a testimony. There's a pastor in Hopewell. His name is Pastor Charles Bennett. He's the one that started me off with the CIA and the FBI, and he contacted me with a lot of different people to let me know that I have the right to video the police. I had to talk to a lot of people before I stepped out doing what I'm doing now. Okay. when I got out there, you guys have to pay attention to this. This is very vital information I'm giving you. Top secret information. I'm telling you exactly how to fix your problem in Petersburg. Okay? I'm telling you how to fix your problem in Petersburg. When the police attack you, you want to be able to go to court, and you need to fill the courtrooms up when your friends get in trouble. Everybody in here needs to go to the courthouse when they have a court date and put pressure on the court.
That's
to
right.
make the courts do their job and stop taking the side of the police officers. But here's the testimony. Pastor Charles Bennett was illegally arrested by Colonial Heights police. You guys know how bad they are, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've been investigating them for many years. All right. My cameras got Pastor Charles Bennett on the sidewalk videoing 2 black African-American women in a car being harassed by 2 Colonial Heights police officers. We had our sting operation set up. We videoed the whole entire thing. The police has charged Pastor Bennett. They charged him with obstruction of justice. They charged him with not helping a police officer, which that's an old cowboy law. They took him to the magistrate, signed him up, and let him go. They rearrested him a couple of weeks later and gave him new charges because they said the other charges wasn't going to stick. Well, the long story short story is we got all of their cell phone messages. I'm telling you, the CIA, the NSA is real, people. You might think the NSA is against you, but half the time they're not all against you. We got their cell phone records. We got their text messages. These are police officers. The same way they text, they go into your phones. We did the same thing to them. And what we done was we found out every single one of them. There was a conspiracy going on where these officers was on the streets on their cell phones, gang and pulling people over and just messing with people illegally without the law, not even going by the law. So what we done was we took them to court and we sued the crap out of them. It's top secret. We cannot even tell you how much he got, how much I don't even know how much Pastor Bennett got. But he's got it good. We got Colonial Heights really good. Now Colonial Heights they still kind of do their little dirt, but they're very sneaky now. They're not as blatant as they used to be because we stood against them. We come to Petersburg. Now Petersburg cops, I've never really heard these, never had no problem out of them. But apparently these guys is worse than all the police departments in Virginia.
No, not quite. Not quite.
Apparently they are because what I'm hearing is there's kids
Richmond,
out there,
Virginia.
You guys, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know what
capital of the
Patterson is
South.
up to. I have a long list. Yeah, he's going to jail when we are done with him. We're not, and we are going after Officer Sharp. The judge and the prosecuting attorney, Sanderson, is corrupt. Okay?
Call them out, bro.
Judge Basterfield is corrupt. She's a liar. She will cover anything.
A lot of them. That's right. Tell on them.
You find me dead tomorrow. You guys pick up what I'm doing.
Losers. They are losers in control.
Out of control. They will rig the courtroom for
Losers
you.
out of control.
We have proof. We have my lawyers have transcripts of these guys rigging the court. The officer. Okay. Here's one. Here's one. I'm in Petersburg, okay? We have a problem with some officers kicking me off the sidewalk for videoing, all right? So I go to the police station to make a complaint on that officer. That same officer pulls up and arrests me for trespassing on public police property. Okay, if that's the case, if one of you people got raped by a cop, okay, and then you went to the police station to make a complaint on him.
You might get raped
Cop's
again.
gonna walk up and put you in handcuffs and arrest you, and a judge and a prosecuting attorney and some other people
So they can rape
their
you.
side, and you can't even get justice. That's what's going on in Petersburg right now.
It's going on all
The thing is,
over.
what they didn't know is that I am an operative, and the whole entire thing was being recorded, and it was a sting operation to bust the cops doing this stuff.
All right.
Take over
Okay.
Teach.
Okay? So you guys do not be afraid of the cops. This is not even about black. This is not even about black.
Here come the devil. You done talked up the devil in the name of Jesus. I bind him out. Everybody get out this street because we don't want no problem. Look, come on up here. I bind them out in the name of Jesus. I got power.
The problem is the whole entire Virginia, these cops are breaking the Virginia law.
And they know it.
Teach on them. Teach
Okay?
on them.
I don't know how long you guys want me to keep talking.
Yes, sir. Teach.
Okay?
Teach.
I'm gonna tell you something. There is officers listening to me right now. You officers that's listening to me, if you're good, go in the police station and arrest those corrupt officers. If
They
you're
won't
not,
do it.
if you're afraid, then you should not be a police officer.
That's right.
Get off the force. I'm not a police officer, and I'm not afraid. Okay?
That's right.
So why are you a police officer? You should not even be getting paid if you're afraid of corruption.
With
Because a police
benefits.
officer was built. A soldier, a United States soldier, is not afraid of a terrorist.
That's right.
Okay.
To fight a battle.
He joined the job.
In the name of
when he gets the
Jesus.
job, he goes in right over here, Fort Lee, right there. Okay? Those guys, a lot of those guys are awesome people, and they are not afraid of the enemy.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
Now, you guys might have a profile where you look like you might be the enemy, but just because you look like something that someone think you are, you're
That's
not.
right. That's
Because
right.
Bad guys hide underneath good guys' clothes.
That's
Meaning,
right.
you go to church, you got preachers that's in church that's doing the same thing. Okay? You got people in schools that's doing the same thing.
That's right.
Everywhere you go, there's going to be a bad guy that hides that.
Come on now. Hallelujah.
People will never
Tell
let
them,
you know who you are.
expose
So
Satan.
why in the world are people being profiled for looking like a thug or looking for like a gangster? Last time I looked, the media and the system has got everything set up where, I mean, you have to look like something. You have to look like a thug or something before you can get the girl you want, or the girl has to be like this ratchet, this straight ghetto type person to be cool. Which you don't have to be, but hey, last time I looked, people got right. You can look any way you want, but if you're not breaking the law, no one has the right to come to your place where you live and kick your butt. It's against the law. If I went inside of that place right now and attacked someone,
Yes.
no matter how many cops I take down, there will be cops coming. And sooner or later, they will take me down, okay? So, when an officer steps over the line, he should be in the same predicament. If the president breaks the law, you got the federal agents, which is called,
Congress.
you guys know what they are? Congress? And they're police officers. You guys know what they're called? Do you guys even know the levels of law enforcement?
It's called Capitol Post.
Federal marshals.
All right.
Federal marshals have the power to arrest the judge and the president and anybody other than that. The FBI has the power to arrest state police. The state police has the power to arrest these Petersburg police. So if the state police gets out of
Chain of
control, the
command.
FBI will step in. When
Chain
the
of
FBI gets out of
command.
control, okay, then maybe you might see the CIA or somebody else higher than that, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to get that far. There's corruption everywhere you go,
Every
but there's
level.
good people in all those places
Every
that
level.
outweigh them, okay?
Every level.
I cannot stress to you guys anymore enough. Please do not be afraid of the law enforcement. If you are not breaking the law, if you're not